In today's lesson, we are going to solve linear systems, meaning find the point of intersection, by elimination. A big part of elimination is getting rid of a variable, meaning you want to make it equal to 0. So let's practice that here. We're basically going to eliminate these variables and make it equal to 0. Now let's start off with the one on the left-hand side, positive 2x and positive 2x. Now to make it equal to 0, you would actually have to subtract the 2. So 2x minus 2x is just 0. Okay, moving on to the second one right here in the middle. Now you've got negative 2x and negative 2x. Now to make it into 0, you would actually have to subtract the 2 from each other. And that would make it 0. Now if this is a little confusing, let's do it sideways. So let's write the top number, which was negative 2x, and then our minus sign, so let's write that. And then the negative 2x. So this is how we would write it sideways. Now notice we've got two negatives here. So remember, when you have that, it turns to a positive. So really, this is negative 2x plus 2x. And negative 2x plus 2x is equal to 0. Okay, so that's how it works. Now let's move on to the third one. We've got negative 2x and positive 2x. To make these two equal to 0, you're actually going to have to add them together. And that would give you the 0. Now let's write it sideways, just so we can understand what's going on. So the top number was negative 2x, then our plus sign, because we're adding it to make it 0, and then the positive 2x. Now notice we've got two positives here, so that's going to turn into one big plus sign. So really, if you were to rewrite this, this would be negative 2x plus 2x. And as you know, that is actually equal to 0. So this is one way of doing it. Now, if you're finding this difficult to remember, let's use a shortcut. So whenever the signs are the same and the variables and coefficients are the same, to make it into 0, you actually subtract it. Now, if the signs are different, and again, coefficient and variable are the same, to make this equal to 0, you're going to add it. So remember, same signs, you subtract. Different signs, you add. We're going to begin by labeling these two lines. So this one here is line number 1, and this is line number 2. Okay, first step, we're going to eliminate a variable. So let's see. We've got 2y here and 2y here. Same coefficient and same variable, so that is what we're going to eliminate. Now let's look at the signs. That's a positive, that's a negative. So different signs means we have to add it to make it a 0. So actually, let's write that down. We're going to add to make the y into a 0. Step 2, we're going to add the both equations. So let's start off here. 3x plus 5x is 8x. Okay, now this, the 2y, we can just actually cancel that because we know that equals to 0. So don't even bother writing that. Then the equal sign, and then 19 plus 5 equals 24. So here is our algebraic equation. To get rid of the 8 attached to the x, we divide both sides by 8. So 8x divided by 8 is just x, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So we have our x value for the point of intersection. Now let's find the y value. So step 3, we're going to sub x is equal to 3 into either equation 1 or 2. Well, I'm going to pick equation 2 because I just feel like the numbers are easier. All right, so let's write equation 2, which is 5x minus 2y is equal to 5. But now every time I see x, I'm going to substitute and put a 3 instead. Okay, so let's do that. So leave the 5, and instead of the x in brackets, I'm going to write 3. Close bracket, minus 2y is equal to 5. Now let's multiply the 5 and 3, which comes to 15, and then minus 2y is equal to 5. Okay, now let's move the 15 over to the other side. So leave the negative 2y and the 5. And when we move the positive 15 over to the other side, it becomes negative 15. So negative 2y is actually equal to negative 10. Now let's get rid of the negative 2 attached to the y. So divide both sides by negative 2. And I'm just going to write the answer over here so I have more room. So our y is actually equal to positive 5. Now we've got our y value for the point of intersection. So let's write the final answer. So therefore, the solution is bracket. Write the x value first, which is 3, and then comma 5, and close the bracket. And that's your final answer. We're going to start here by labeling the equation. So this is equation number 1 and equation number 2. And your first step is to eliminate a variable. But wait a minute, I don't see any variable with the same coefficients. How are we actually going to get rid of it? Well, I'm going to choose to get rid of the x, okay? So choose one that you'd like to get rid of. So let me write that down. Okay, now to get rid of the x's, you're going to actually have to multiply the coefficients to make it equal. Let me show you. If I were to multiply this 3x by 4, that would make it into 12x. And same way, if I were to multiply the 4 by 3, that would make it also 12x. So notice now, both of the variables and the coefficients are the same. But we can't just do it to one thing. We have to multiply it to the whole equation. So the first equation, I'm going to multiply it by 4. And the second equation, I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 3. Okay, so now I'm going to make this into equation 3, not 1. So 3x times 4 is 12x. 2y times 4 is 8y. And 2 times 4 is 8. So this equation 1 has turned into equation 3. Now let's make a fourth equation. So 4x times 3 is 12x, 5y times 3 is 15y, and 12 times 3 is 36. So equation 2 has turned into equation 4. Okay, so now we have to get rid of the x's. So again, notice the coefficients are the same. Now, they both have the same sign, meaning they're both positive. So to make it a 0, we're going to have to subtract it. So let's put that subtraction sign there. And then step number 2, let's subtract both the equations. Now the first column we can just cancel because that's 0. And 8y minus 15y comes to negative 7y. And then 8 minus 36 comes to negative 28. Now let's get rid of the negative 7 attached to the y by dividing everything by negative 7. So y is equal to positive 4. Okay, so this is our y value for the point of intersection. So to find the x value, we move to the third step, which is sub y is equal to 4 into either equation 1 or 2. Well, I'm going to choose equation 1. Again, it has small numbers, and I like small numbers. Okay, so let's write equation 1. So that is 3x plus 2y is equal to 2. Now, every time I see y, I'm going to sub in a 4 instead. So let's do that. So 3x plus 2, and in brackets, I'm going to put that 4 in there, close the bracket, is equal to 2. Now let's multiply the 2 and 4. So leave the 3x, and 2 times 4 is 8, and that's equal to 2. Now I'm going to move the 8 to the other side. So again, leave the 3x, leave the equal sign and the 2, and the positive 8 becomes negative 8. So really 3x is equal to negative 6. Now let's get rid of the 3 attached to the x, divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to negative 2. So this is our x value for the point of intersection. Now let's write the final answer. So therefore the solution is, bracket, the x value is negative 2, and then 4 is the y value, close the bracket. And that is your final answer. Before we start working on this question, there's something odd about it. Notice here there is an x, but below is a y. Okay, so the variables are not aligned. There should be x on top and x at the bottom. So let's align the variables first. So I'm going to do that on the side over here. So the first equation, number 1, I'm going to leave it as it is. So it's going to be 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 17. Okay, now let's write the equation 2, but I need to write the x first. So x will go right here, and then the minus 3y will go next, and then is equal to 9. So the x's are aligned and the y's are aligned. Okay, so now move on to step 1, where we eliminate a variable. But none of the coefficients are the same, so I'm just going to choose to eliminate the x's. Now there's a reason why I've chosen the x and not the y. Now notice if I were to take this x and multiply by 3, it would actually become 3x, just like the one on top. So I only have to multiply the second equation by 3, and that's it. So let's rewrite this again. Equation number 1, I'm not changing that, is 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 17. And the equation 2, when I'm multiplying by 3, so let's change it into equation number 3. So x times 3 is 3x, negative 3y times 3 is negative 9y, and then 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, now the x's are the same and they all have the same sign, so we're going to have to subtract both equations to make it a 0. So let's put that subtraction sign there. Now the 3x's get canceled, so let's move on to the next one. 2y minus negative 9y is actually positive 11y. And negative 17 minus 27 is negative 44. Now let's get rid of the 11, divide both sides by 11, and we're left with y is equal to negative 4. So this right here is our y value for the point of intersection, meaning we're going to move on to step 3. We're going to sub the y is equal to negative 4 into either equation 1 or 2. Well, I'm going to choose equation 2 because, again, I feel the numbers are quite small, so let's write that down. So x minus 3y is equal to 9. But now, every time I see y, I'm going to sub in negative 4. So x, then minus 3, and in bracket, I'm going to put negative 4, close the bracket, is equal to 9. Okay, let's multiply. So leave the x, and negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12, is equal to 9. So again, leave the x as it is, but this 12 is going to get moved over to the other side. So that's going to become 9 minus 12. And x is equal to negative 3. So now we have our x value for the point of intersection, so we can proceed with writing the final answer. So therefore, the solution is, bracket, the x value first, which is negative 3, comma, and then the y value, which is negative 4. So now we close the bracket, and this right here is our final answer.